Hello, everyone, and welcome back to RGL Invite. We've got a fantastic game for you tonight. It is going to be Froyotech versus Mama's Boys. My name's Tisamano. I'm joined by the amazing Wild Rumpus. We got Dolphin on production, and Wild Rumpus. Obviously, how are you doing? But also, I said it's an amazing match. Froyotech. That's a team name you probably know. It's a team name that everybody knows. But Mama's Boys, who are they? Who even are these Mama's Boys? Like, what's their deal?
Yeah, true. I would say it's probably best to kind of contextualize these teams in the Fireside LAN we recently had because Mama's Boys are at least similar to the Balls team, if anyone remembers them from that LAN. And they actually had quite a strong performance, all things considered. Now, it's not that team in its entirety, but Jay is still here, Slimnish is still here, High Five is still here. They brought Skis in out of retirement, and then some of the G6 guys are here. Chris actually off-classing on demo is going to be definitely an interesting player to look out for. Then we have Bomo on Scout. Of course, on a map like Bagel, as we saw in Grand Finals there, I expect big things from Bomo.
Yeah, Bomo was absolutely popping off on the last LAN, so I do mirror that hope that we will see some expert plays coming out. But, on the other side, Fryotech is Fryotech, but they're also going a little bit different than how you may have last seen them at LAN. It's still going to be a lot of the names that you recognize. Banny is there. I mean, it wouldn't be a Fryotech. I don't think it'd be an invite season if a Banny was not competing in some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form. So he's going to be there. He's going to be on Pocket Soldier. Laz is returning on Roaming Soldier. No differences there. We've got Habib still, but he's going to be on Flank Scout. And you're like, all right, well, if Habib's on Flank Scout, who's on demo? That's right. It is G6 Demo Man himself, Logan, going to be on the Demo Man for Froyotech. Patty is still with the squad. He's going to be on Pocket Scout. And then Hubert the Fish is going to be on Medic, at least for tonight. We don't know if that's going to be a thing long term. Maybe it is, maybe it won't be. Who knows? They're probably just getting themselves still situated. But with all of these roster swap ups and, different teams kind of coming together and merging, Rumpus, we find ourselves on Bagel, a very chaotic map. I don't even know who the underdogs are because traditionally, you think of maybe Bagel, oh, it might be an underdog type map. I don't even know who they are to try and give them the edge in this prediction, but I am still going to ask you for one.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because I mean, I don't know if we've seen a Froyo roster like this before. I mean, they shuffle things up during pug scrims and whatnot, but definitely looking like a lot weaker than the typical Froyo we're used to seeing. Now that being said, there's plenty of off classes for Mama's Boys, but still, I do think that Mama's Boys are probably favored going into this. As far as the matchup on Bagel specifically, so we are actually reading up here. I think across the point, the big asset that Froyo's going to have this match is Logan versus Chris. Logan, of course, is going to have way more comfortability playing demo on this map, but when you talk about the scouts matching up here, I mean, Bomo and Slumnish versus Habib and Patty, I'm not so sure.
We'll have to see. We won't have to wait too much longer as we do go live on the very first mid. It seems like Chris can be very, very aggressive, actually. Habib trying to rush him, gets a sticky to the face. Not fun for him to be on the other side of that. He's done that so many times to Scout. So now going to have to work against it as it's going to be Mama's Boys taking a lot of point presence at the moment. Not enough to be able to capture it up, but here comes a bomb in from Laz, landing onto High Five. They try and shove the doorway. They are able to take him down, but Habib is going to go down over on the flank. Slemnish finding another onto Laz, so a little bit better of a player advantage for them, but Laz over in behind, actually, no, sorry, it was Jay just doing massive amounts of damage onto Hubert, gets him with 95%.
That is brutal as well. Yeah, down goes Patty. Logan trying to make a play, gets the force, so that's actually really good value, all things considered. But, ooh, and Habib is hiding as well in a house here. Might get some value because Ski's not healthy right now, so Habib can find a nice timing. That might be uber advantage for Froyo. Definitely sees what's up, sees Skis, and nice two-shot there, secures that kill. Heads up play there. So now it's really just a matter of how much time add Mama's Boys can get off of that earlier fight, because they are sure to lose the point soon.
They are indeed. They're taking a lot of damage, and that's going to be one falling. It's going to be Jay. Now, with the two-player advantage, they're just going to be able to easily walk onto the point, Froyotech, and they get that. They're kind of getting in position to try and do some type of forward hold, but one of the things we were talking about earlier is that they've actually made it a little bit easier to try and bust out from this forward hold.
Yeah, the forward on Bagel has always been the sort of downside of it, I guess, or the sour spot. Because relative to other maps, as we actually see those soldiers trying to just jump through concrete side, but it is a complete nuke in the doorway. Oh man, is Skis and Bomo going to be caught? That's really the question here. Banny's bombing in from the flank, trying to get Skis, does find the kill. And that is a full wipe off of what we were saying was going to be a less strong forward hold on this version. Doors are kind of opened up, you have more angles. But yeah, Bagel is considered by many kind of the best Koth, a particular favorite, but the forward hold is one of the hardest ones to break out of as far as Koths are concerned.
It definitely can be. Hopefully, Mama's Boys will have a little bit more success trying to get out, as they are now at massive Uber disad with that late death from Babel. But nice pick onto Banny from Jay is going to open things up. They're going to have to force Froyotech back, but they do have to be wary about this Uber that Patty can take in at a moment's notice, and he is going to be going in with it. Can they find anyone to make it worth a lot of damage coming out onto the combo? They find one onto Chris. They get the demo. Good stuff there, but high five jumping in. Wants to get onto Hubert. Nice rockets. Cleans him up. Does a lot of damage onto Logan as well. Barely going to be able to stay alive and not crater, but Patty comes in, takes down Babo. Disconnected. No one was there with their medic, and Patty is also going to get Slemnish. How does he do that? Gets two, and there is still a Froyotech player alive. It is Banny, but I think he's been spotted, and he's just going to try and jump out, and actually he's going to be able to help take down Bomo with Laz.
Yeah, round so far looking pretty decent for Froyo, all things considered. The not G6. Mama's Boys will cap the point, but it immediately gets recapped. Bomo is still dead. Double soldier bombs come out from Laz and Banny.
Oh my god.
Finding the med, and this is now very good for Froyo, because so long as Hubert can stay alive here, then this Uber ad should just win the game. I mean, maybe Red can get in time, 40 seconds left. Maybe they can get in time for overtime, but it's gonna be cutting it close.
Is going to be cutting it very, very close. Nice bombs from High Five. Going to be able to take down Habib and Laz. They have an opportunity to try and do something with the faster respawners. They can maybe get onto the point. Hubert doesn't have just quite yet, but is going to have very, very soon. They're going to be working this in through house. They meet a soldier. So much damage on the Hubert is going to force him to pop. They do drop Logan. Banny also going to go down as well. Everyone is falling right in front of Hubert's face. He's not going to be able to get out. And now that has been a disaster of an Uber for Froyotech.
Yeah, basically the one thing that Mama's Boys needed here was to not be facing the barrel of disad in overtime. Now, that being said, still minute 40 for them to burn, but only 20 seconds left for Froyo is actually kind of decent. I mean, it's much better than like a 5-second or a 3-second, which is pretty feasible in this kind of position. So we do actually have Banny on that forward hold sniper. On old versions of Bagel has definitely been a wow, and the Uber just
oh my god, they're just going in.
They haven't even.
They might catch Uber. They catch Uber.
And get 4. What?
Oh my god, that is absolutely insane. That was the call coming out from Bomo and Slemnich, just to go in and just say, screw it. They're all bunched up. They got a sniper. That's one less projectile in these closed spaces to maybe shut us down. And like you said, they were able to milk in. They didn't even need to use their Uber. And now it's going to drain a lot more time off the clock.
Yeah, I was going to say the sniper is kind of, you know, abusing long sight lines to try and break a forward hold, but then Mama's Boys just perfectly showed the counterplay to that. And that class doesn't do anything, especially when it's a soldier. Ooh, 4-man coming out, maybe. Oh my god, the drop!
Laz, absolutely.
3-man for the drop.
I mean, they are going to have enough time to try and come out here. It is going to be 30 seconds on the clock before Mama's Boys walk away with this round. But that is going to be enough time for Froyotech to get all their spawners and get over to the point they have the faster spawner because they don't have control. Hubert coming up to 100%. This is going to be a very, very critical push for Froyotech. They need to get this point. Ideally, if you're a Froyo fan, you want to see them take this point and not have to use Uber to do so, or at least get a lot of picks in response to using Uber. They're going to be walking forward. Patty Patty is going to use, gets bombed up into the air. Logan jumping in super deep, getting so much damage off. Finds one onto Slimnish, but not going to find anyone else. Bomo is going to fall a little bit late. They do get two, probably get another onto Jay over in house. So it's going to be okay for Froyotech, but the thing is, Bobo is going to have uber advantage here, and they have overtime.
Yeah, I don't think that he's going to be getting them in time in all likelihood. Yeah, just going down, trying to break the forward. Yeah, I mean, that uber is kind of what changed the round there entirely, that drop on point during the forward hold, because Hubert can really just use and get any amount of kills like we saw. If the margins were just a little bit narrower, where we saw Skis getting uber, you know, after that 20-second time, then sure, there's a fight to be had there, and losing players doesn't matter so much, but was not the case.
It's not the case. Hopefully, Mama's boys are not going to be able to take that too much to heart and just come back and give it another good go, as Lad's going to be bombing around, getting some POs in behind, but Habib rushing forward, wanted to get onto Skeet, but luckily for Rockets, didn't happen, but Laz comes in from behind. They were too focused on him, but on the other side of things, Hubert as well goes down. It is just medic carnage at the moment. Maybe something you'd expect on Koth, but it's just been so back and forth already. It's good to meet both scouts from Froyotech. They're just wild twists. We get two. Absolute insanity coming out, just as two easy quick pipes, and I mean, you gotta respect that. Maybe some questions seeing Chris up on the demo. Everyone knows him for scout, but he's looking pretty good on it right now, Rumpus.
Yeah, if you told me that a demo soldier 2v2 against two scouts went in the favor of the demo and the soldier, I'd be like, okay, it's because of Jay Soldier. But no, Chris Demo just absolutely dominating Habib and Patty there. And they're getting kills as well in this tempted aggression from Froyo, trying to take a fight before a forward hold is really established. Does not go their way. So now it is a proper forward hold being set up, although I don't know if Chris... Okay, there are traps on the big door by Valley. So yeah, proper forward hold in, and Froyo actually just popping through, going for an exchange. He's so healthy though, everyone healthy, and no need of using Uber. We might just see a sack wave out of Froyo right now, because things are looking dire, using that entire Uber to get basically nothing.
Yeah, they did try to send their soldiers in, but Laz and Betty not finding anything. Habib is going to be able to go down, and now Mama's boys are setting themselves back up once again into that forward hold position, and Hubert is just going to have to build with the rest of his squad. They tried to go in with that Uber, weren't able to get the counterforce out, and this is going to be a minute now off the clock for Mama's boys. Oh.
I don't know what Skis is doing, just peeking that door, trying to see what's up, but...
Oh my, the ball onto Penny! That was I think that was a headshot ball.
Beautiful. I mean, they were able to kind of goad out those kills. I mean, basically a sack wave, because again, Hubert just now getting Uber. You don't want to just sit around twiddling your thumbs. You want to actually do something while you're building. They did get a kill on high 5, and it looks like we're actually in a pause here, which is conspicuously timed to the round. But yeah, I mean, taking stock of things right now, definitely a strong round advantage right now for Mama's boys. Ubers have evened out, but they burned a good minute, 2 minutes maybe, without Froyo ever capping, and they're still sitting in a forward hold. Down a soldier, but still something.
Yeah, I think it'll be about 2 minutes by the time Froyotech gets to the point, assuming they kind of play perfectly or as they should, because I think it was like a minute 15 on the clock still for Mama's boys, so gonna be around about 2 minutes by the time Froyotech get to the point. But yeah, Mama's boys just look so good at the moment, and it's really been interesting because you can maybe see that these teams are a bit newer, because once they get in control of the point, we've seen them being able to hold on to it for quite a while. Like last round, I don't know how long Mama's boys were able to hold on to it, but they held on to it for like a good while because Froyotech had a lot of time already off the clock. And we're seeing that once one of these teams get in control of the point, they have it for a long time, and they're not able to really cleanly break these forward holds as you'd kind of maybe expect from some of these teams.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about Koth as well is some rounds are just gonna be more eventful than others, even though they like take the same amount of time sometimes. Because if we think in terms of just like fights and plays that happened this round so far, there's been the mid fight, which Mama's Boys won, and then there was the attempted refight from Froyo off the spawns, which lost them some players. They had to wait for another spawn wave, and then there was the attempted Uber exchange out of the forward hold, which didn't work. And then we're here. Well, I guess there's a sack wave as well, but I mean, only like a few different interactions between these teams have really happened, but they've all gone so well for Mama's Boys as we are actually resuming here that it just gave them such a strong advantage so far.
We'll have to see if Froyotech are going to be able to adapt. They are going to be able to get out, not having to use just quite yet. Taking a lot of damage. It can be the combo. Have to back up, but Laz is already in behind a little bit of 1v1 with Jay. Now the Uber going to be traded across the point. Laz is going to fall over in the backlines, and Chris is just bombing in, trying to catch out all of these players. Oh, nice slim niche pick onto Habib. Really great stuff there, and that's going to be the player advantage for Mama's Boys. They find one on the high five. Froyotech does. Patty collecting that kill, but it is still going to dissuade Froyotech from doing anything at the moment. They are going to have the faster spawns here, however, to try and continue this fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking okay so far. A lot of point pressure now from Froyo, but Bomo is in on Logan, getting some decent damage there. And everyone on Froyo actually quite weak, forced to back up. Chris finds the kill onto Logan, which is definitely going to be quite nice as far as pressure on the point.
Oh my god!
High five with a huge flank. Down goes Hubert. And now it's looking absolutely comfortable for Mama's Boys.
Yeah, I mean, that was essentially a flawless round from Mama's Boys. There's still technically 3 seconds left on the clock and a little bit more time because they have to wait for overtime to go down, but they're just going to use the Uber. Insult to injury, basically spawn camping Froyotech at this point. Laz finds one onto Slemnish, but that is not going to be enough for them to really do anything there. Some choice words in the chat, maybe some plead saying, hey, don't go to mid, guys, just let us capture this one up. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a tie game, 1-1, and we're going to have to see if maybe Froyotech can adapt on this next mid.
Yeah, true. I mean, that was definitely a dominant flatback round 2. Froyo, I mean, it's still even in rounds right now, but definitely momentum for Mama's Boys. We do see a house fight here, but even Laz both trying to shove, and it is reciprocated on the other side with high five and Bomo. No one dying to either shove, however. Counterbomb from Jay gets a lot of damage, however. Aggression on point as well. Chris trying to peek across, trying to make things happen. More house shove for Mama's Boys as the cap time is definitely ticking in favor of Froyo, and it looks like with this, they are going to be able to convert.
Oh, Jay and high five the soldiers from Mama's Boys going huge, finding 3 between the two of them. That is going to force everyone on Froyotech back, and it's going to be an easy cap for Mama's Boys right back up. So Froyotech not having a lot of control over that point for a long time. Now we're going to see Froyotech in the exact same situation where we've seen them kind of flounder a little bit on that second round, trying to force their way out. They're just going to be immediately busting through. Habib is going to be taken down, and they do get choked, but this time they do successfully get the counter force out. High five going in for a huge bomb. Not going to get enough damage to get the kill, but Hubert went down so low. Here comes the bomb. They get on the skis, though. Banny finding that rocket, and that is going to be enough to take away the Mama's Boy forward hold. Jay, however, is so close. I thought he was going to get that air shot, but high five coming in. He gets onto Logan. He gets another onto Habib. The man is insane, but still Froyotech, they should be able to get out of that forward hold, but it's going to delay them a little bit longer.
Yeah, Jay and high five with some nice compensation there, just kind of stalling, and what was a messy fight, ultimately going to be disad, and now a lot of disad, with skis going down yet again. Still a minute burned for Mama's Boys. You're okay with that, I suppose. Honestly, if I'm Chris in that forward hold, you got the kill on Habib, but that door was not, or the trap was not cleared at all, so almost feel like could have gotten more value there. Nonetheless, we do have pretty much full ad here for Hubert. Going to be a forward hold for Froyo, and it looks like they're eager on the door. They're antsy. They are going to take it. Looks like they're gonna get a kill onto Chris. High five goes down. So does bot mode, but it's gonna get traded out for Laz and Logan. Notably, with Skis living, that's the important kill to find. That means it's gonna be still uber advantage now for Mama's Boys.
Yeah, we are going to see Froyotech still try and contest the point and keep hold on to it. Mama's Boys walking forward with that Uber advantage and trying to see if they can take it for free. They should be able to because the player just had from Froyotech with a bomb coming in onto Skis. A little bit of damage, not enough, but he has to dodge all of those pipes. They have been able to clean everyone on Froyotech up, though. Habib just trying to run out for his life. Might be able to win that one against Bomo. No, Slemnish comes in to help his scout buddy out, and that is going to be Mama's Boys successfully retaking the point, now not having to use Ubers, so it is going to be even Ubers, and Froyotech have to once again try and bust out from this forward hold.
Yep, I mean, Ski's proven he's the GOAT yet again. Retirement can't hold him back, I guess. Oh man, Jay getting skyboxed here. Trying to hold the door very weak. Freyo trying to get that kill with the exchange does exactly that. Okay, so they're going to have a kill in this post. And they get through the doors, but Habib dies. Manny and Laz both bombing behind. But both scouts are on the case, and they might both get cleaned up here without a kill. On the front lines as well, High Five did a good job of stopping the point as well with the space that Laz and Banny got. So it really all materializes in nothing for Froyo, and now a bit of a collapse is coming in. Oh! Huge pipe from Chris, gonna find Patty and Hubert. The flank from High Five gonna clean up Logan, and this is now looking very, very good for Mama's Boys because, you know, despite being down a demo here for this forward hold, Skis is going to be getting this Uber soon, and it's going to be one of those overtime plus Uber ad win button scenarios. Froyo definitely backed into a corner here.
Yeah, they're trying to work their way out from that corner. They have to play almost essentially flawless here. Only 15 seconds left on the clock for Mama's Boys before they get a second round. Froyotech going to be able to capture it up, but they immediately lose too. Both of their scouts, Batty and Habib, being taken down. Hubert is just trying to run for his life as everyone else on Froyotech trying to see if they can maybe get onto Babo. High five. He's just got Hubert pinned in to the tank, but he's missing a little bit. He beeps. Hubert, no, he doesn't live though. His Slimnish takes him down anyways, and I mean, they weren't anywhere close to getting the point, but it doesn't really matter, and that is going to be a second round for Mama's Boys.
Yeah, not technically overtime plus Uber, but still, you know, 10 seconds left plus Uber plus get kills is the free win. So a little bit of extra steps there, but Mama's Boys securing another round, taking the lead now, and that one's looking pretty dominant as well. Certainly some momentum going in favor of the red team.
Yeah, some good momentum for Mama's Boys. I guess Mama would be proud at this point. I don't know. I don't know what the relationship... You would hope, because they're playing really well at the moment. But let's see if they're going to be able to close it out, or if Froyotech have something in response. Froyotech have a lot of ground control right now over the point. Laz going in for a little bit of bomb, gets immediately shut down and denied, but Banny as well. So no soldiers for Froyotech. They capture up the point. That's going to be some long respawns. Habib is in the backlines. I think they do know about him. They're just keeping an eye in behind to make sure they don't get pit turned. But High Five seems like he's going for the wrap. Going to be bombing in onto Hubert. Some really great damage. Nicer from Hubert to be able to stay alive, and with those couple picks onto High Five and Slemnish, Froyotech might be able to hold on to this if they can get Hubert. Nice force from Jay.
Okay, I mean, at least Froyo are going to be holding on to the point this whole time, and they do get the force as well, so this is actually not too shabby at all. At this point, spawners are on the way for Mama's Boys. They do deny Jay to see if that pick ends up mattering in the ensuing fight. But one thing I've noticed on these mid-fights in particular is Froyo has had a habit of trying to overwhelm the flank and really jump on High Five from multiple angles. So far, High Five's been able to evade it. And now actually Banny dying means that, you know, despite all this cap time, Froyo might not be able to convert the point in the immediate future. And might have to wait for that spawn.
They are going to have to wait for it a little bit. Mama's Boys trying to see if they can get a little bit of ground while they have that player advantage. They find one onto Patty, so just going to extend that player advantage for a little while longer. Habib taking a lot of damage onto the point is going to fall as we see Bomo just rushing in. No fear whatsoever. He takes a fight, but he still gets onto Logan. Absolutely insane.
Hubert's 60 as well. Oh, man. I feel like that was... Well... I don't know if Bomo knew how weak Hubert was, or if he just decided to chill, but that was looking a little chaseable, a little scary. Chris is having the same trap up, only this time around it does get actually cleared. It's like a rotation the other door from Froyo. But there is a healthy soldier there, and a flank as well from High Five. He's going to find Logan, who's alone, not involved in the Uber, and Hubert is caught in the post as well. Skis does die, but this is certainly going to go to the favor of Mama's Boys. And again, messy fights like this, both meds dying. Obviously, Mama's Boys won this fight much more confidently in the combat class department, but the more back and forth fights without the point converting, the more it just favors the team that owns it.
Yeah, it does. We are going to maybe see an early pick Jay taking down Habib. Laz is going to immediately avenge his fallen teammate, but that is still going to be another instance of Froyotech not having the best push out. Chris doing so much damage onto Patty. It takes him down with some well-placed stickies, and we're just going to see Hubert once again at risk of falling. The High Five. He just gets in onto him every single time. Babo is weak, but there's no one close enough to really press that advantage, and that is going to be, again, Mama's Boys just absolutely wiping the field on Froyotech.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely too early to call this round with a full minute left. That's plenty of time for Hubert to get an Uber, so you don't have to worry about that overtime disad insta-loss. But, I mean, it's really hard to imagine Mama's Boys aren't just gonna keep going, right? We are in another pause, it would seem. Yeah, I don't know. They've just been playing these past couple of rounds very, very confidently. This one, Freyo's gotten a bit more time for sure, but still, I mean, when Mama's Boys are in the driver's seat, they really don't relent.
Yeah, they don't relent. And the thing that Froyotech has been having so much problems with is this exact scenario. It is pushing out of their side of the map. They just can't seem to be able to do it cleanly. Someone either gets in behind, they lose someone while walking out, and then they don't have everyone quite there to really fight on the point. They take an Uber, and sometimes they will get the counterforce out from Babo or Skis, sorry, and that's okay. But then the counter or the after Uber exchange fight just doesn't really go their way either. So they're having a lot of trouble. I think once they get onto the point and they have a solid hold, they're pretty good. They're able to get a lot of time off the clock, and we've seen them be able to kind of take scrappy fights and get time drained off the clock when they have the point and kind of benefit themselves in that way. But it's just in these scenarios where they have to push out and they really have to kind of work together and kind of go for these sacks. They're just not able to do it cleanly.
Yeah. So in the immediate sort of fight that's going to ensue, kind of the state of the game is obviously, oh, actually, we're just going to see. So Froyo actually immediately breaking the forward pretty effortlessly. The Skis is very close to getting and might have just about now. Yep, there is the Uber. Chris bombing in. Oh, Huber's completely caught and gets air piped by Chris. Oh my god. It's just a matter of if Skis can stay alive in the post. It's looking like maybe not, but I don't even know if that is going to matter as far as the round is concerned. If Skis live there, it's probably just a guaranteed win, but yeah, still game to be played, I suppose. But man, just again, fight after fight just going in the favor of Mama's Boys.
Yeah, they are just finding themselves on top in almost every single fight. There's less than 20 seconds left on the clock before they take a third round. Froyotech, they got to try and do something here. Ubers are not going to be in play, so they can just try and go for the drive fight and maybe have the respawn advantage work in their favor. They're going to be sending in their soldiers. Laz going to be going in behind, drawing a few players back, but Habib is going to be the first one to fall again. High Five going to clean him up, and Bomo on the point, just rushing forward on the baddie, but Logan fights a nice pipe. It's just chaos all the way across, but the chaos is favoring Mama's Boys once again. Patty, the last one here, he tries to work his way in, and he's going to be able to do a little bit of damage, but at a 1v3, he's not going to be able to win that.
Habib to just run it down on point, just as a, what's the word I'm looking for? Formality is the word. Right, yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, match point now for Mama's Boys. If you're Froyo, I don't know what you're talking about, because it kind of just seems like they're losing fights in different ways every single time. They have solid plans a lot of the time, like with the flank shove, but it just never materializes into the kills that they need.
Oh my
That's
God,
a
Logan!
great start. Okay.
Wow, I mean, yeah, if you're gonna start a comeback, that's the best way to do it. Jay getting very aggressive over towards Laz is gonna be able to win that one, and now Slimnish walking forward as well. They want to try and get onto Hubert and try and equalize the medic situation, but they're not gonna be able to do it. Froyotech doing well this time to protect Hubert, keep him alive, something they have not been able to do effectively in the past couple of rounds. Bomo trying to see if maybe he can go for a flank and over one of the houses, but not gonna do it. Froyotech, they capture up the point. Going to be even on time for the meantime, and they're going to have a little bit of that. I think the first time in a long time, actually, Rumpus, that we've seen Froyotech the ones with Uber advantage.
Yeah, we'll see how they play it. I mean, Skis is actually kind of committed right now. Maybe catchable if Froyo pops their Uber right this moment, but now going to be kiting back a little bit. I mean, in a moment like this, it's really just a matter of, are you going to 4-man or not? Because if you 4-man and the other team is, you know, passive enough, then you really achieve nothing. But if that team is, you know, passive against the 4-man, then the point's very pressurable. We are seeing a lot of cap pressure come out, and Habib actually going down. Ooh, and high five is in on Patty. I don't think he realized that Hubert
he got
was
high
on
five.
him.
Hubert has said enough. He's like, all right, if you guys don't protect me, I will protect myself. He's upgraded from whatever his profile picture is into like a shark. He's evolved. His the Ubers have been traded across point. Gonna be even Uber exchange. A little bit better maybe for the side of Mama's Boys. They got control of the point and they should be able to keep hold of it. It's gonna be on Froyotech to now to try and bust in and break it. A lot of damage coming up on the Chris. Nice rocket, but not enough to kill him. Still managing to stay alive.
Oh, waiting for a bow. I thought Chris was typing there. That would have been nice. Yeah, I mean, down 2 soldiers. Bomo is dead, but still, Mama's Boys. Oh, yeah, finding Hubert as well. Habib gonna go down. Patty very weak in the left house here. Might just try and make a play, find a trade. Does not do so, I don't think. And Mama's Boys, clock relatively even, but 65 ad.
Logan.
Oh, wow. 65 ad definitely gonna earn them some time here, I would imagine.
It should earn them a little bit of time. Skis. Oh no, Laz immediately comes in. I was gonna say that was a great surf, but no. Laz immediately is able to clean him up, and that is gonna be a very unfortunate medic dev for Mama's Boys. Caps. It's just over in the house. Yeah.
Okay, Jay was lurking. Bomb's point, but the med's not there. Finds the demo, so that's something, I guess. Slumnish finds a trade. Okay, I mean, not horrible. Now you're telling Froyo, hey, do you want to deny your guys or give us a little bit more time? Obviously, they would love to kill Hubert there, but none of them, or neither of them, really in a position to do so. Like said, Froyo are a little too slow for the forward, and they actually immediately lose a player in the fight.
They use.
Once Hubert gets Uber, I'm not really sure if that Uber was called or what, because not many players were under pressure. And, oh, Hubert dying in the post as well. This is now fantastic for Mama's Boys, assuming that they can keep Skis alive.
It seems like they're doing very well to make that a reality as they instantly take down the bombing Froyotech members. Great pipes from Chris to be able to clean up a few of them, as it's really only going to be Logan trying to send some pipes of his own across the point. But Froyotech once again on the back foot in the position that's caused them so much trouble throughout this entire match, trying to push out, trying to sack cleanly out of their lobby and trying to get some type of force out onto Skis. They're able to get in, but Jay once again is in behind, has an easy layup on the Cupid, and he gets it, but just not watching the flanks when they go for these types of 4-mans.
Oh, and the Uber as well. And I really like this Uber, actually, because, I mean, the reasoning here is that you lose both your soldiers, but you kill the med. So there's going to be a messy fight ensuing where the other team have a bunch of combat players without much to live for, and you're down a couple soldiers. So you may as well use Uber, clean everything up, and just simplify the situation, right? Because Hubert dying means it's ad regardless of whether you use your Uber or not. So I really like that play there from Mama's Boys.
Froyotech have to start getting some good plays of their own. They're busting through. Their soldiers taking a lot of damage, however, but they have been able to get out. No one's in behind on Mama's Boys, so Froyotech in a better position, and now they can try and fight point. Now, good early pick onto Chris is a great way to start it. Jay, once again, getting the better of Laz, and they push forward with that Uber advantage that you spoke of. Logan doing well to stay alive, buying a lot of time, manages to trade out with Momo, who has to result to the melee to try and secure that kill. And they do keep Hubert alive, but there's only 12 seconds on the clock, Rumpus.
Yeah. Oh, and Jay actually choosing not to deny there means that... Okay, never mind. There's a demo here. So they will be able to get the point. That was actually going to be a little close. Chris immediately sacking, though, and immediately getting the force. I really like that heads-up sack because, again, the sack waves are the most effective when the opponents are not expecting it, and just a demo bombing in immediately there. Definitely not expected. So we are now in a situation in which Skis has 60% Uber, Hubert only has 20, and the red team has overtime. So all they really need to do is get this Uber and use it and get any amount of kills or spacing.
Oh my god.
No! They try and cook too hard and make things happen before getting. So now it's looking like maybe a Froyo round. Shoe on the other foot.
It could be a Froyo round. They do get 2 picks onto Laz and Habib, so it's not curtains just quite yet. They can maybe trying to pull something miraculous out here. Get the force or the kill on the Hubert, the drop. We've seen it before. We could see it again, but Froyotech looking really, really good. Banny can bomb in behind to just draw some eyes. And they actually do get on the Hubert. That could be it. Skis very weak as well, but the plays they get... Just like that. I said they could do it, and they were able to do it. They get the drop onto Hubert, and with that, Mama's Boys are able to win versus Froyotech. It's definitely Froyotech's first match of the season. I don't know if it's Mama's Boys, but still, regardless,
as well, yeah,
it's a great way to start the season.
That is crazy, and honestly, I mean, the way invites look in Mama's Boys might just be our #1 contenders right now. I mean, we'll have to see how things shake up for Froyo because, of course, there is like a lot of off-class happening, and I imagine it's pretty easy to shuffle players around. Like, I mean, Banny and Patty are a pretty straightforward switch, and then they'd both be main classing, for example. So we'll see what adjustments get made if Hubert actually is on the roster or was just ringing for this match. A lot of questions about Froyo still need to be answered, but I think one question that did get answered is that at least today, right now, at the start of the season, Mama's Boys are a much, much better team than Froyotech.
Yeah, they definitely are. I'm looking over at the logs, and Chris GPT, aka
Yes.
Chris, aka Caps, going absolutely monstrous on the damage department. 385. So doing really, really well. Instantly taken to demo. You know, he's doing some weird kind of flank stuff as well. You like to see, but it was working out for him. Logan, you know, top damaging for his team at 370. You know, the one thing, you know, we're speaking a lot about Hubert. You know, he was kind of falling a bit. Not too many more deaths than Skis in the grand scheme of things. Only died 3 more times. The stat that immediately kind of pops out to me is Habib not having a great game, going 14 and 34.
Oh, yeah. Wait, top
On
deathing the entire server. That is remarkable.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know
so
if that's just like not being locked in or what. I was ready at the end of this map without even looking at the logs. I was ready to call Caps the MVP actually because he was very impressive. He did play a season of demo, right, already on some other off-class team, if I remember correctly, that
maybe.
had like Logan Scout on it. I don't know if those guys stuck with the off-classes the full season through, but I mean, this is, you know, technically speaking, top invite as far as the season is concerned. So being able to just show up on a map like Bagel and just drop the hammer on Froyo is definitely impressive.
No, it is indeed doing really, really well for what could may be their first matches demo and top invite. So yeah, Chris having a fantastic game, and you know everyone really on what is it? Mama's Boys playing really, really well, doing what they needed to do. They all had really great stats on Froyotech. You know, they're trying to make ends meet. Wasn't able to be it enough. But it's the beginning of the season, literally the first match for Froyo, and a maybe for Mama's Boys as well. And I don't think they've really done too much scrimming with these rosters, considering LAN was uh basically just about 2 weeks ago. They probably took a break as well, and a little bit of time as well to figure out, all right, what is our actual roster for this season going to be. So there's a lot of improvement on the table for both these teams. So this is a not how I imagine, grand finals or playoffs to go between these two, but who knows? It's a great early start for Mama's Boys. Let's see if they're going to be able to keep it going throughout the entire season. But I think that's going to be wrapping it up for us tonight. Wild Rumpus, do you have any shout outs you'd like to give?
Shoutouts KJR, and yeah.
All right. I will shout out you, Mr. Rumpus, for being an
Oh,
amazing
you know
caster.
what?
It
In
was
that
great to
case, I'll
see
shout out
you.
you.
It was amazing to see you at LAN, and that
Yes,
was a highlight
as
for me.
always.
Shout outs to Dolphin as well for doing all the amazing production stuff. Shout outs to the RGL merch. Buy it, wear it, show up to lands in it. We were talking about Fireside Land, and it's always great to see people and meet up with people, and you're like, oh, that's cool. I want to do that. Well, you can, because there's RGL land coming up at
Yes.
the end of this season. So definitely go to that. You can see the top 4 teams of this invite season duke it out in playoffs. It's going to be a lot of fun. And also, like I say, just meet up with people that you know in the community, and it's a really, really great way to get involved. Aside from that, it's going to be it for us tonight. We'll be back next week with some more amazing TF2 action. So stay tuned. Tuesday, Thursday, maybe Wednesday, the usual time, the usual place, and we'll see you next time.